Let's take a few minutes and talk about everyday carry priorities. The reason I want to put this out is I believe there are some mixed messages out in YouTube land, and I don't want people to get confused. Now, I like keeping things minimalist, but don't confuse that with keeping things ultra small and ultra tiny across the board. Um, that's not what I mean by minimalist. I just don't like carrying a lot of redundant stuff. There's a few redundancies that I like, but I don't like carrying just the same thing after the same thing. And sometimes that's just what's going on in the EDC world. One example is I have watched a YouTuber, well-known YouTuber. I've watched his videos just from time to time, and he does a gear check series, or he did a gear check series. I don't think he does it anymore. And in one of them, he showed off his fanny pack, which is fine. Nothing wrong with using a fanny pack. But he showed it off, and it was just full of stuff. Now, granted, this is just an opinion-based video. You do what you want. If you want to carry a backpack and a fanny pack full of gear to the mall, I don't care. You do you. Whatever makes you happy, that's awesome. But this is just my little bit of an insight for those that may be wanting it or are just curious to hear it. I think it sends mixed signals because you watch videos from somebody like him and he's preaching, size and weight and the ounces and everything, which is good stuff. It's really good stuff. But then he's not showing it. You just see a huge fanny pack with multiple knives and watches and everything and lights and just all kinds of stuff, which whatever, but at the same time it could confuse some people. It could cause people to carry more than what they originally planned. Then it becomes a hardship, and if it becomes a hardship, you're not going to carry every day. If you prioritize correctly to your environment and to you and what you want to do, then I believe you're going to carry more consistently every day, and I think that's the end goal. So don't overburden yourself too much with stuff. So my priorities, I'm going to start with my top priority. And the reason I want to start with my top priority is it's the firearm. Now, some of you, everyday carry, the top priority isn't a firearm, and that's cool. Everybody's different. I'll explain to you why my top priority is a firearm for everyday carry. For those of you that follow this channel for a long time, it's no secret you know that I'm a law enforcement officer. Because of that, when I'm off duty, I want to have a capable firearm because I do carry off duty. I carry 24/7 as much as possible. So I want that. I think it's really important. So first off, I'll show my current everyday carry. Now, I unloaded this before putting it on the video, so don't worry, it's safe firearms handling. But my first piece here, and you've seen videos on it, I'm actually carrying this now, Glock 22. I'm sure somebody out there be like, you're not carrying a Glock 22 every day. It's heavy, it's full size, it's kind of blocky. No, I am carrying it. That was the whole point of me getting something like this. I wanted something more full size. This is an actual law enforcement trade-in. Back in the day, the Glock 22 seemed to have been just the law enforcement gun to have. I'm not saying 40 caliber is better than 9. Don't get me wrong. I like a lot of calibers, so I sometimes tend to switch. I like the 40 caliber just as much as I like the 9. It doesn't bother me. So that's why I have this. I have a 16-round magazine because it's a 15-round mag plus the base plate here, which is a +2 base plate, but for 40 caliber, it's a +1. It's a Glock magazine, Glock base plate, 16 rounds in the mag, +1 in the pipe. I get 17. So same capacity as a Glock 19 or a Glock 17 rather, but it's in 40 caliber. I have Winchester Rangers 180 grain because they're a very good performing 40 caliber round. They perform well against ballistics, gel, intermediate barriers, all that good stuff. So that's that right there. I have a simple holster, just simple Kydex inside the waistband holster. And to top it off, I have one reload, which is also a 16-round magazine I keep in a pocket. And there's the Winchester Ranger 180 grain ammunition. So there's my firearm. Why is it top? Other than me being, carrying during my off-duty time, as a law enforcement officer, why is this important to me? Well, a gun, if I'm going to be using a gun, that means it's a really bad situation, right? Well, I've jumped back and forth between small guns, big guns, small guns. I always go back to the bigger guns. Now, I do have smaller guns still, and a lot of that is for, I like to take road trips. So if I go to a state that is maybe a little bit restricted on ammunition, I have like smaller single stack 9mm that I can carry to those, because I'm still bound by those laws. You know what I mean? So I have those, but it's certainly not my preference. I want a fighting gun. I want a full-size gun. The Glock 22 is a fighting gun. There's no doubt about it. It has a very distinguished history in law enforcement. It has been used over and over again in street fights, house fights. It doesn't matter. It's performed exceptionally well. That's what I want. That's just me. Everybody has different priorities, but I think if you're going to carry a firearm, make sure it's a good firearm with a decent amount of ammo that you can carry, up to what you can carry, whatever state you're in, as far as laws are concerned. If it's a low capacity gun, maybe have more than one extra magazine. I choose to just have one extra mag. That's me, but I do have another mag for this. So if I want to carry 2 magazines, I certainly could. But that's just me. So there it is, the gun. Now that takes out a lot of, or it takes up rather, a lot of weight and size, right? Well, if you carry right and you have a good wardrobe that's bought and worn around your concealed carry, I believe the gun shouldn't adapt to your clothes. Your clothes should adapt to the gun. I like Clint Smith from Thunder Ranch. Follow that guy. He's really old school. Some of the stuff he says is a little bit quirky. He's a typical old guy, but I think he's an American treasure, and he talks about fighting guns. You want to have a gun. You want to have as big of a gun as you can carry in a fight, because you'll be thankful. Nobody wishes they had a smaller gun in a gunfight. So anyway, that's why I go with this. So from that's my top priority. My second top priority is a knife. So a knife, there's a lot of different schools of thought. I just go with folding knives. Now, granted, the best self-defense knives are fixed blades. I'm not worried too much about a knife as self-defense. Can it be used as self-defense? Yes, and that's one of the factors, but I like it for utility type purposes. So I switch around a lot on knives. I really do. I have a lot of favorites. Right now, the one that I have is Ontario Rat 1. I really like the Ontario Rat 1 knives. I think they're awesome. It's a bigger knife, but it still conceals really well. It fits into a pocket really well. It's still really light. It just feels really good. I have bigger hands, so I really dig it. And the Rat 1 is known for being a good kind of utility folding knife. You can use it for self-defense. You can use it for camping applications, standard everyday carry, cutting open boxes, whatever you're going to do with a knife. It works really well. So that's why I have it. And I think that's important. Carry a good knife. Next up on my priorities, I have a multi-tool, but not a full-size multi-tool. This is where I do have a small. This is a Gerber dime, and you can see it's been carried for quite a bit. It's a small multi-tool, but it works for what I needed. I have never had any need for large multi-tools. In fact, this small multi-tool has helped out a lot. I carry it, and I use it sometimes when I'm doing stuff on firearms at home. I'll just whip this out, and if I'm tightening a screw or whatever, it has all that with it. And it even has a small, if I don't want to use my regular blade, my Rat 1 or whatever I'm carrying for whatever, it does carry a small blade. So there's a little bit of redundancy there, and it's pretty sharp. So if I want to open a box and I don't want to use this, I can use that. So it works out really well. Flashlight, varying trains of thought on that. A lot of people like double flashlights or flashlight on their gun. That's totally cool. I don't view it as necessary. In my opinion, it just adds extra bulk, and I don't foresee myself in a situation where I'll need a light on a gun. That's just me. At least in the outside everyday carry. For home defense, that's different. In the middle of the night, I do have a separate gun that I can use for that role. Olight. Now, Olight, I'm not the biggest fan of their weapon lights, but these are the lights right here, the 3E EOS lights. These things are awesome lights. They're really well made. I really dig them. They're really lightweight, compact. I have no issue. I have multiples of these, and they work really well. I've used it several times. And because of how I have it connected to my multi-tool, I can actually hold it very easily up against my firearm and use it as a light if I so choose. That's what works for me. But very, very small. This covers a lot of bases right here, and it's one tight little package. So there's that. Last thing, I carry a tool that can poke holes, so I better carry something that can stop the bleeding that results from a hole being poked. So I carry a tourniquet. I've carried a tourniquet for a long, long time, and I'll still continue to carry a tourniquet. I believe it's very important. I've been on many, many crashes on duty and a few off duty where first aid was needed. So it is what it is. It helps to have a good tool. If you want to carry more of a first aid kit, you certainly can. There's nothing wrong with it. There's a lot of good kits out there that are like ankle harnesses and whatnot. So totally, totally cool. For me, I just carry a tourniquet. Other stuff I think I don't really need. I have first aid kits in my vehicles. I don't really need something on me, in my opinion. That's just me. Again, just my opinion. It's up to you. But you can see here, I cover a lot of the basic bases as far as everyday carry, but I prioritize my carry a little bit different. I don't worry about carrying multiple knives. I don't need to. I don't care about multiple flashlights. I don't believe I need it. I don't care about multiple handguns. I have one really reliable fighting handgun. I think that will do the job. The only thing I would change is, or add to it, is an extra magazine if I deem it necessary. But look at your everyday carry kit and really prioritize, what are you trying to do? Why are you carrying this stuff? For me, self-defense is a big deal. Society has gotten a little weird, so I really value that. The other stuff is just for utility type uses. Really look at what you got and then try to pare it down to a more minimalist, because I consider this as minimalist everyday carry. The more you try to carry, the more of a chance you'll stop carrying every day, because you overload yourself. You get to the point where you're like, holy crap, I'm carrying all this gear and I just don't have anything else. And man, this is just rough. And you get to the point where, I'm just going to the store. I don't need to carry it. It's too much trouble to put it on. Or, hey, I want to wear shorts today. I don't want to carry things because it's too much. Even if you throw it in something like a fanny pack or something, if you want to do that, that's your deal. I'd prefer to have something a little bit more secured to my body. But, in some cases you might say, hey, I don't want to put this big heavy fanny pack on. I just don't want to do it. So really minimalize this stuff. Carry a gun. It's very important. If you're really serious about it, I believe in carrying a gun. I believe the society has gotten too much of a victim mindset. I believe people are responsible for their own training. They need to get out, protect themselves, because I'll tell you right now, law enforcement doesn't keep crime from happening. Law enforcement responds to crime. That's just the way it is. Yeah, we like to say proactive policing, and we try to prevent as much as possible. And maybe in some cases we can prevent something, but in reality, we're just responding to what has happened, or what is currently happening. So you need to be able to protect yourself. You really do. Another thing is, if you keep your everyday carry minimalized, you can spend more energy on physical fitness. You can spend more energy on training, which I believe is a lot more important than just buying the fanciest gear. So just wanted to show that to you. Don't get caught up in getting all different kinds of stuff and loading up on stuff, because I think you're going to find it's going to create some inconsistencies. Look at what your priorities are. Be honest with what your priorities are going to be, and then go to that. Be your own individual person. I showed you my priorities. This is my opinion. This is kind of what I feel things should be, but everybody's different. All right. So really take an honest look, see what you got, and go from there. So, all right. Thanks a lot for watching. I know this has been going on for almost 15 minutes. Sorry for being long-winded. Put in the comment section what works for you. It doesn't have to be specifics if you don't want, just comments, because that way people can look, and after they listen to this video of me blabbering on for 15 minutes, they can look at other opinions and form a much better informed opinion off of that. All right. Thank you for watching. As always, stay safe.